Russ, Vought on all of this, and the Kamala Harris and the Democratic ticket now taking a page from Donald Trump on this: no tax for waiters and waitresses and service workers. He is the former OMB director, could have a pivotal role in a future Trump administration if it comes to pass. Russ, good to have you. What do you make of the fact that Kamala Harris has sort of gone on to this no tax on tips thing? Since she is a blank slate to many Americans, they'll just seize on that and say, well, that's a good idea, right?
Well, it is plagiarism, it is dishonest, and I don't think it'll be successful, because when you're trying to run a campaign essentially from the basement of the White House, which is not unlike how Joe Biden ran his presidential race on it, the voters are going to go back to what they know about you. With Joe Biden, that was 40 years of history. With Kamala, that's going to be the person who ran for president the first time and got no votes, and that's going to be the candidate that was against fracking, who was against private insurance with Medicare for all. And so, yeah, she can change her position, but I don't think it'll cut through, because she doesn't do interviews, she's not out there, and voters are going to go back to the reality of which they know. It's working so far,
right, Russ? It is working so far, and you're quite right, it's still an early process, but this strategy that she might be able to carry through next week's Democratic convention and get a pickup in support and popularity after that, she has some wiggle room here, right?
She is a couple of weeks into a media infatuation with her because she is the person to replace Joe Biden. That is the only thing that she can point to. She is not getting any kind of benefit from plagiarizing a campaign proposal from Donald Trump. She may get a little applause line in a rally, but it is not going to cut through, because it is not real, and voters will A, never hear about it, and B, not believe it, because Democrats never support cutting taxes, and this is part of an effort to disguise their far left tax agenda that we know is part and parcel of their Democratic Party.
Having said all of that, do you think your old boss is helping his cause when he, criticizes Brian Kemp, the very popular Georgia governor, and gets involved in a lot of, intra-party battles back and forth? He's kind of reverting to form. A lot of people look back at this Mar-a-Lago press conference as, kind of incoherent, all over the map, some exaggerations, and that he's not really helping himself. Do you worry about that?
I don't worry that the president is running anything but the best campaign that he possibly can. It is the most policy, agenda-driven campaign, I think, of any presidential candidate in history. If you go to all of the videos and proposals that he is putting out there. Now, I would question that, Neil, in the sense that he has a very good sense of the American people, the voting demographics, the blocks that are necessary to move, and he is always speaking with different messages to each one of those. And what I would say is he is running a policy-rich campaign, and I only expect that to continue.
Okay, the reason why I mentioned is your name comes up that say, you're really the architect of this Project 2025, uber conservative, sort of a layout of plans here, and that you've hurt Donald Trump. I've not had the chance to get you to respond to that. You've heard it all. What do you say to that?
Look, there's a ton of think tank work that goes on in Washington, D.C. What President Trump is running on is his actual agenda, as it is written and discussed and put on video with Agenda 47. And he is doing an incredible job of putting that agenda before the American people. I only expect that to continue, and I think it will lead to a historic and successful election in the fall, in November.
Do you think that Project 2025 outlines hurt him, though, and by extension maybe hurt your cause as well?
Look, I think there is think tank work that goes on, and the Democrats have been a part of slandering the work of a lot of good organizations that are doing a lot of important work. That is separate from what President Trump is running on, the agenda that he has put forward, the policy prescriptions, and he is right to put the attention on that. And if the Democrats continue to lie, I expect the president to continue to do more of the same in insisting that the American people take account of his ideas and his proposals, notwithstanding what think tank work occurs in Washington, D.C.
All right, we'll see what happens. Russ, always good having you. Russ Vought, the former OMB director under Donald Trump.